this video I'm going to talk about the Rimmel London Spice Edition eyeshadow palette, and my name is Melissa van Dijk and I'm a makeup artist, and in today's video I'm going to show you how you can also create a beautiful night out eye makeup look. And I'm going to dig into some of the shades so that you have an idea of how they perform, plus how you can also create a beautiful look with it. So when we have a closer look at the Spice Edition, when you open it, this has also like a little brush in it, and you can use the brush if you feel like it, but you don't have to, as it is a very small brush. Like for example, the blending part you can use for the blending, but I just feel like if you're going to use it for the crease, it's a little bit too small. So you can create simple looks with this palette, as it has, like, it's mainly a warm tone palette. Now you have a little bit like purple right here, but most of them are red and orangey tones, like also some brown tones. So you could use either just 2 shades, which are going to pop into the crease, main lid area, 3 shades or some more. So I'm going to go also into some purplish shades, then a little bit into the red and brownish tones, so that we have a beautiful like mixture of mainly the shades that are in here. Plus I'm also going to use the white shade, which you can use beautifully as a highlighter. So this is the palette that I've picked. They have loads of like various palettes. They have a colorful one, they have a cool tone one, they have a purplish one. This one is now the Spice reddish orangey type of palette, and most people say it's kind of like a dupe from the Urban Decay palette. Think whatever you want. And I'm not going to swatch the shadows, as I'm not really a fan of swatching the shadows. Some of you might already know it, as you basically can trick every eye with it if you're going to do some swatches. Because if you load your finger with a lot of product, plus you have the beautiful stamps that you can put on your arms, and then you're going to put the shades on there, you just can trick the eye and the blending is perfect and the pigmentation is there. Which doesn't mean that it also will perform like this on your eye, as you're not going to use your finger only, but you're also going to use some brushes. So please keep in mind that if you're after swatches, then I'm the wrong person, as I do not believe in them. I just believe on how it performs with my brushes and how it performs on a daily basis that I'm using the palette on my own. So this is also how I base my review on this one, but I first wanted to get started with a night out eye makeup look before I'm going to share my thoughts on the palette. So let's get started with the shades, and I'm also going to put my hair back. Now I prepared already my eyelid area with concealer and set it with translucent powder, as this is how I normally prepare my eyelid area because of my discoloration, and I wanted to make sure that the shades are having the most power out of it, just because if you have a clean base you can work with it better, and it also won't like distract it from your natural eyelid color. You can also use an eye primer if you like to. If you don't want to use anything at all, then just go with it. That's perfect, that's fine too. Just make sure that you're feeling comfortable and that you're also able to have your brushes and just create a beautiful eye makeup look, because you should have fun with it and you should enjoy the colors. So I'm going at first into a very natural shade, the second one right here, which is a matte. So with this one you have some are matte, some are shimmery ones. So I'm going to start off with this one, which I'm going to pop into the crease just to have a base at first. And I'm going to start off with a fluffy blending brush, which I'm going to load on my brush, and then I'm going to start applying it. And I'm going to start having it in the crease. Now this is a shade that won't be very pigmented, as it's very similar to my natural skin tone. If you're a little bit fairer, then this will show up a bit more, or if you're using a different base, a little bit of a lighter base, then this will show off like even more. So it just depends on what skin tone you have and also what kind of a base you're using. So I'm going to start off by just blending this one light-handed through the crease before I'm moving on towards the outer corner. I'm also going to focus it a little bit more towards the inner corner as well, as if you have already one light shade in the crease, it just will make blending a little bit easier if you're going into other shades later on, so that it basically goes powder on powder, so that it has a smoother base, and then if you have powder on powder, it just will blend beautifully afterwards. You don't have to do this step. I'm just going to show you now one beautiful eye makeup look which I would call the night out makeup look. And I'm also going to connect it towards the outer corner. Now that I've used a bit more, I can see the shade as well. So for me personally, I like this shade a lot, as you can start off with this one as well if you want to create a natural look as well. This could be your crease shade, and then you can use a beautiful shimmery one, which is very similar to that one, just in a shimmery shade. And you can use this one on the main lid area as well. Now we are going to move on to a darker shade, which I'm going to focus at the outer edge. Now I'm going into the purple shade, which I'm going to focus at the outer corner right here. I'm not going like too much into the crease area. I'm just mainly going to keep it at that part right here before I'm moving on to the next shadow. So I have the shadow on the brush. I'm going to start pressing it before I'm going to start blending it. Now this one I'm going to keep at the outer area. And I'm not going into the crease too much, as I just want to keep the outer edge a little bit darker. And I'm going to create a little bit more like a teardrop shape right here. Now I'm going to start a little bit more towards the crease, and I'm going to start blending. Now if you feel like you need a little bit more control, please keep in mind that you have all the brushes that you're going to use from different shades, that you're going to keep them very close to you, as this way it's also easier for you to start blending and also have a little bit more control of what you're going to do. And I'm just going slowly and building it up. Now the trick that I like to use for the outer corner part, so that I won't like have a droopy eyelid right here, is that I'm going to take my sponge or the brush that I've applied my foundation with, and I'm just going to lift the area just to make sure that it keeps like being lifted rather than bringing it downwards, because I don't want to have like downturned eyes or creating like the shape of downturned eyes just because of the shadow. And this is also a good way on how you can control, like have a bit more control of the shape that you're going for. So I'm going to keep on blending and also bringing it a little bit towards the crease, not too much, and I'm going to keep it fairly at the outer corner, so I'm not going to drag it towards the midsection or inner part, only at the outer part. And later on we are also going to add some shimmer at this area right here as well. Now I'm going back in with the big blending brush. And now we have darkened the corner, so now we can go into the next shade. Now I'm going into this shimmery pinkish reddish tone right here, which is a little bit lighter than this one, as I want to keep it not too much into the reddish area, as I also use some purple at the outer corner. And I'm going to use my finger on it, and then I'm going to start applying it on the main lid area. Now I'm going to focus this one now on the mid center of my eyelid area. I'm not going too close towards the inner corner, as I wanted to add a different like shimmery shadow on top as well. And I'm also not going towards the outer corner, as this is where we are going to use the darker shimmery shade as well. So because this is a night out like makeup look, I just want to make sure that we are going into the shimmer region, because this is what I'm most excited about this palette. But of course, I mean, you can create beautiful eye makeup looks with so many different palettes. Doesn't matter what brand it is, doesn't matter what shades like are in there, as long as you're feeling happy with the shades and you're feeling comfortable like wearing them and also applying them, that's all what matters. And it doesn't matter like from which brand it is, how pigmented it is. If you're a fan of like not so much pigmentation, well, go with it, there's nothing wrong with it. If you are a fan of like having bold bright colors, go with it and have fun with it. I mean, I can't really judge a palette on the pigmentation, as not everyone thinks the same as I do. Not everyone has the same needs as I need when it comes to an eyeshadow palette. It just depends on the person you are like on your own and on your personality, what you're wearing. So I'm just trying with this makeup look to give you a range of shades that are in this palette and show you how they are applying. Now that we have the main shade going on, I'm going into the darker shade, which is this one right here. It's a brownish, like still kind of a red tone based shade, and it's very close to the purple one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this finger and I'm going to apply this one at the outer corner as I just applied the purple. I'm going to blend those two shades into each other, and I'm also going to press this on top. And I still have some of the other shade, and I'm just going to start blending those two together by only using my finger as applicator. So what you can do is, in this case, you could also go ahead and use the brush if you want to have a bit more precision. So there's nothing wrong with the brush, it just depends on the needs or what you're going for. So for example, I'm going to use the brush and I'm going into the dark shimmery shade, this one right here. I'm going to use it for the outer corner. So now I'm just using the brush, like basically the applicator that's a bit like a sponge applicator, which is also beautiful if you want to get a little bit more precision, if you can't blend it with your finger. Now I'm just going back into the rosy toned shimmery shade, which we used for the middle, and I'm going to blend those two together. Now, do we have fallout? Yes. Is this a problem? No. Because, well, it can be a bit annoying, but it's not really a problem, as you just can take a brush and brush it away. Or start with your eyes first and then do your base. That's like totally up to you. I personally can't do my eyes first because I'm just used to doing my base first. Not that I can't, I just don't want. It basically gives you a beautiful way on how you can use it, and this is also by using your finger. So with the spice, like with the Rimmel Spice Edition palette, you basically can create beautiful looks, you can create natural looks, you can create also a little bit more maybe like night out looks, for example. That's what I'm going for. So it depends on basically what you personally prefer, and if you like the shade range, then just go with it. Now I'm going into a lighter shade, which is a bit lighter, so we are going towards the lighter range right now, and this is the shade, like it's like a light rosy one, and I'm going to focus this one on the inner corner, and I'm still going to use my finger for this application. So why should we do it complicated if we can do it easy as well? So I'm going to use it now on my middle finger, and I'm going to press it on the inner area. And now we can start blending. So I still have the 3 shades on my finger. I'm just going to go back into the shades, and then we can start blending. So I'm going to press the shades basically on top of each other, which makes the blending even more beautiful. Now I'm going to take the blending brush again, going to soften the edges, getting rid of the fallout, and we're going to start with the crease shade. So for the crease, I'm going to intensify the crease just a tiny bit more, and I'm going into a very close shade that we used before, which is this orangey brown tone right here. It's a matte shadow, and I'm going to focus this one on the crease. So I have the shadow on the blending brush, and I'm going to start blending it into the crease. This one is a little bit more of a darker shadow that we used like before, as I'm just going to intensify the crease area a bit more and blend the shadows into each other. Now we have also a beautiful shift from a very like pinkish area towards a reddish tone towards the darker tone, and if you feel like you're missing some shimmer, you always can go into it again. So there aren't really rules on how you should apply the shadows, it's just like what comes up into your mind and also how you feel that day. But just keep in mind that I've used a lot of my fingers just for the application, as I feel like this is how it works the best. going to remove the fallout. And now basically with the same shade that I've just used for the crease, I'm going in with a flat eyeshadow brush and I'm going to put it underneath. And for me this one looks very like as the palette name is already, like the Spice Edition palette. All the shades remind me of spicy sauces and also like spicy vegetables like the chili and so on. This is like very like made on point. So when it comes to the names, it's also easy to remember what name or which shades you are going to expect based on the name. And I've just used this one now for myself, as I personally feel like I would wear the palette like on a daily basis. So if you feel like you're also going to wear this one on a daily basis, then you can go in with any Rimmel shades. I mean, they have a lot of them, so it's not only the Spice Edition. So now that we have this base on, I'm going in with my little pinky and I'm going to focus on the highlighting shade, which is basically the white shade right here. This is so white that you basically can use it as a topper on top of every shade that I've just used, or you can use it as a highlighter. I'm going to use my pinky and I'm going to focus it on the inner corner and also brow area. Going to press this in the inner corner. You can also use a brush if you like to, you don't have to. Or this way you can also use the brush that comes with it, with the other end, as this is also a very precise brush, and you can also use this one to put right underneath right here and the inner corner. Like so. Now this is my night out eye makeup look with the Rimmel London Spice Edition eyeshadow palette, and I've tried to use several shades for you guys as well so that you can also see how they perform. All in all, for me personally, I love the palette a lot. I also love the shades that are basically how they are themed up. You have a little bit more darker ones, you have mid-tones, and you have lighter shades. So you definitely can create a bit more of a dramatic look, but you also can create also a very natural look by using only two shadows, or mainly just one shadow in the crease, and then you're good to go. So I've been using this palette quite a lot lately, and I've done also several looks with it. Mostly I've created some red tones makeup look just because I have a lipstick that goes very well with it, and this one is another one. So I just like to match them up and have a gorgeous makeup at the end. But of course, I mean, if the warm tone shades are something that's like calling for you, then I definitely would go with it. I like how they are performing. You have a bit of fallout, but it's very easy to blend away. I mean, as I said, I like to have my base on first before moving on to my eyes. But if you're doing it the other way around, it's even easier for you as well, because you just can wipe it away. All in all, I like it a lot. And they have several tones, so you don't have to go with the Spice Edition. You can also go with several other ones, and from how this one performed, I definitely would recommend it to you as well. And you have like a lot of shades for a drugstore price, so I definitely would go with it. Now I hope that you also enjoyed and could learn how you can apply the shadows and also coming up with this gorgeous look. I'm really happy how this turned out, and yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to add that's like negative to this palette, as it just depends on your personal preference as well. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys. This is also what I wanted to show you. I hope you enjoyed the step-by-step tutorial as well. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye!